how did you pass the PANCE the second time around? And what did you do differently from the first time? Those are the questions that are being asked lately, and I want to make a video so you guys know what I did differently and the mistakes I did the first time. As we all know, the PANCE has a blueprint, and the blueprint is huge, and they can ask you anything that is in the blueprint, supposedly. Sometimes they just throw random things at you that fall into the category but are not listed in the blueprint. But for the majority of the tests, it will be aligned to the blueprint. But again, the blueprint is huge. But what I did, I used CME's Precision's book to narrow down the most high yield subjects that they ask about. The Precision book has subjects of questions that were missed by students, so it gives you the high yield information. However, it doesn't have much of the explanations when you look at the book. This is how the book looks like. For example, one of his pericardial effusion, formulating the most likely diagnosis, and as the answer it has shortness of breath, chest pain, usually when supine. It gives you the overall information, but I will suggest for you to take that information and make it your own. You can put it into an Excel, and that way you can add information that you think is relevant for the exam. For example, what I did is I put into Excel, and I made my own notes by watching the Rosh videos, watching CME4Life. When I practice my Rosh questions, UWorld questions, I would add information that was missing, and PANCE Prep Pro as well, and Smarty PANCE. And I printed it because I like to have it in front of me. I will highly recommend for you to come with your answers, because that way you're not memorizing and you actually are learning. During the CME4Life courses, I was able to meet one of my friends. Her name is Shanda, and we will meet along with other friends and we will pimp each other. Shanda has passed her exam, and now she's tutoring. She's using the CME4Life material, and she has helped many students pass the exams. If you really want somebody to help you and really tells you all the tips and tricks, I will suggest for you to talk to Shanda. It's right there. She is great, and I will help you. What I will suggest for you to do as a student that is starting to study for the PANCE, or even as a didactic or clinical students, what I would do, I would put the blueprint into Excel, like I have mentioned in another video, and break down everything like formulating more likely diagnosis, applying basic scientific concepts, treatment, and so forth already. That way, when you get to your PANCE, you will have that information there, and you will be able to look at that and study from there. Question banks that I used were Rosh, UWorld, and Smarty PANCE. I don't know if I have a favorite from those three, but each have their strengths and their cons. For example, when it comes to Smarty PANCE, I like that sometimes it throws you random information that you probably haven't seen before, or it has been a long time since you have, and it's good at that. However, when you take the exams, it can give you a boost of confidence, because it doesn't take off points of you missed it and that's it. It kind of gives you like a little points if you got the question right the second time you answer. Now, when it comes to Rosh is good. The explanations are a little I feel it's just because it has like a huge of information and it's hard for me and other students kind of digest it. It makes it hard, but I do like their questions. Now, UWorld is good, and it gives you second order and third order type of questions. However, it doesn't have simple questions. It's mostly concentrated in second and third order. It is great for the professional practice. Now, if you were to, let's say, fail the first time, that wouldn't be much helpful. As for CME4Life, Rosh, and Smarty PANCE will help you get your subscription back in order for you to try again. And I think students that don't have much money, because we've run out of everything including financial aid, it is very helpful when a company gives back. Anyway, that's a video for another time. Another thing that I did attended Rosh's live lectures. They were fun, however, they were very general. It would be good if you feel comfortable with the subject and you just want to get a little bit of review before you take the exam. Another resource that I used are the all PACKRATS, and you can find them if you Google all PACKRATS PDF, or you can also find them in Scribd. They're good because they kind of give you a sense of idea of where you stand, and some of those questions are very similar to the PANCE. And what I will actually pay very close attention is that you don't rely on the ones that are outdated, and those will mostly be the USPSTF recommendations. And for that, you should go to the USPSTF website or just Google A and B recommendations and print out that and tape it all over your house, because they will show up in the test. They will show up. Another list that you should be very aware of are the cranial nerves. Do yourself a favor, and when you have the whole 15 minutes before you start the exam, write it down in the cheat sheet. That way you can just take a look at it and be like, oh, this is what this does. Trust me, you will see them there. Another list that you need to accumulate are the most likely cancers. For example, bladder would be transitional cell cancer. If you notice, you will see that I used many resources, and that was my downfall the first time around. Focus in maybe 1 or 2 resources, and you should go back to your notes, because what I was doing is I would be making new information of topics instead of just reviewing, which that was the point. Just review. Make flashcards if you like. Do not use all the resources that I used. Do not. What I would recommend is 1 or 2 resources. That way you can fill out your chart that I mentioned, like anything. You can use just notes and answer those formulating most likely diagnosis, applying basic scientific classes, and blah 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 blah. That way you can just review them before the exam. You don't need to come up with something huge like this. You don't. Just stick to the surface level information, because as a PA, you need to know primary care information, not specialty. Do pimp your friends. Do review your notes. Do practice questions. Do make tables. Do not waste your money. The reason you don't need them is because there will be repetitive information. What I will do for you guys, I will make reviews for each material, so that way you guys can decide which one you decide to work with and what's worth your money. Because we're students, we don't have that much money to waste. We cannot eat ramen noodles for the rest of our lives. To answer the question of what did I do differently and how did I pass the exam, is I reviewed my notes. I didn't add more to my notes. I just reviewed them, and I also did questions. What I would do sometimes, I would review the notes like cardiology one day, and then at the end of the day I will do cardiology questions. Then one day of the week, mostly Sundays, I would do 60 questions at a time that were random. I didn't do, which I think would be helpful, is sit down and do a whole test. I would do maybe 2 to 3 sections at a time, but I would not sit down and do the whole test. I didn't do that, but I would recommend you to do that. And the way to tackle questions is read the question first and then the vignette. You may read the answers just to get an idea of what it's about, but I would just suggest to just read the question and then the vignette and get a little bit of hints if you can, because some of them is either you know them or you're not, and those would be like a cranial nerves. Let me know if you guys have specific questions or you guys want me to go more into details with something. I will add more videos about this subject because it was a long journey to get here, and if you guys can learn from my mistakes, I think you should.